Hey, welcome back to Milton Daily Homes. Chuck here. We have a list of 9 properties today. Thank you for joining us. If you want to get daily customized email updates straight from the source, from the broker system, as soon as something lists brand new or changes price, you hear about it right away. Powers of sales, estate sales, all the great deals on the market, full 100% coverage, but faster than even Milton Daily Homes, which we do once a day. Go to miltonmarketwatch.com or you can go to homefinderprogram.com. Either one of those sites takes you to the same form. Fill in some information and then we can get that started for you right away. We have a couple questions, so we want to reach out to you either by email or phone. But there you go. That is a better way of getting access to listings than I think is available anywhere else in the marketplace. And it saves a lot of time too. So if you're on sites like Zoocasa or MLS.ca, it's kind of a waste of time. And the information there can be up to probably 2 or 3 days old. So something that just appears on MLS.ca, we've probably seen it a day or two before that. And what happens with the best new listings, they sell pretty quick. So let's start with this one here on Woodward. And so it's at $245, which is really the equivalent, even for a condo apartment, is like a 1-bedroom. So it is the best way to get a 3-bedroom house in town. Okay, even with the fees of $309, which include your water, but you still pay for heat and hydro and cable on top. The two things that bring this price down, because some of the condo towns are up in the $280, $290, $310, even $320, is because there's surface parking. So you only have one spot here. If you have a house with a garage, typically you've got a driveway that gives you the second spot. You don't have that here. You just have one spot. And we do find sometimes in this type of development without any garages where there's just surface parking, sometimes the visitor parking gets used up by the owners. And I'm not saying it happens here, but we do find that that's a trend when you don't have the garage with the driveway. The other thing is it's got electric baseboard heat. So if you manage that, you can actually have pretty good bills, but running basically consecutively, it's going to be far more expensive to heat a home with electric heat versus gas heat. So you have to be really careful about how you heat your home. You might have to, 10 minutes before you go to bed, you might have to turn on your electric baseboard in your bedroom and that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit more management based. It looks okay inside, right? It's got some updates, it looks like, but still some original parts. And it looks like you've got a pretty good view off your backyard. So there you go. Under $250 gets a lot of attention. It's just not a price point where we see a lot of places in Milton. 383 Main is Greenlife. We've talked at length about this building in past episodes. You've got geothermal heat. You've got solar panels that regularly contribute about $100,000 a month that Milton Hydro pays for it, that it sells back to the grid. So it generates a lot of self-sustaining energy. There's ICF construction. So basically you've got a quieter building, more energy efficient. It's really the way buildings should be built these days. And it's unfortunate that this one is kind of, it's not being used as a model and a template more often in more places. There's not a single developer in Toronto that's even come close to anything like this. So Delridge is the builder. They're starting to get to the final stages of registration on the West Side building. You're going to see some units probably in West Side come out soon. This one is a... what's the name of this model? It says it in here. Avocado is the name. Around mid 700 square feet. It's a good sized 1-bedroom. And it says there's a den here. Open concept kitchen. You've got the higher ceilings in this building. There's no photos here, but it's a good solid building. Again, you could buy this in some of the other buildings, Maple Crossing, Bristol on Main. You can buy a 1-bedroom for $240,000, $250,000. Maybe for this size, you might be a little higher than $250,000. But the point is that your maintenance fees here are $77. You go to the other buildings, you're probably more than $200. And so it's like a hybrid car. You pay a little bit more up front, but you get all the savings on the back end. And it's a pretty good community in this building. It's a good mix of people. You do have seniors, you've got younger people. Everybody seems to look after each other. The cleaning staff is good. So it's a very nice place to live from an environment perspective and people and culture and everything else. So dredge is $375. It's a Mattamy current model. It's 1195 square feet. You have to be careful with the size of your furniture because it's a great layout. I think it feels bigger than 1195 square feet. However, the couches have to be the right scale because you can really fill that room up pretty quick if they're too big. You also have, this is the model, and it's an upgrade to put the second full bathroom in this one. And they have done this, they've done the second bathroom upstairs. Plus there's a handy little nook at the top of the stairs for a desk. You can look it up, Mattamy Current, CURRANT. Some of them have sold in the 360s. I don't think any of them have cracked 370 yet. So they're a little bit higher than the historical average, but pretty much all of them sell. So whenever there's a situation where it's not if you're going to sell, it's what you're going to sell for, sometimes it makes sense to just err a little bit on the high side of fair and maybe see if you can kind of draw someone out, maybe from scarcity of inventory. Maybe it's just because there's not a lot of stuff out there, and you'll find if you're the only pair of pants in the store, sometimes people will flock to it. So Woodward is $434.5. It has an in-law suite down in the basement. It's got some, the wallpaper. It's annoying to take the wallpaper off, but it's usually not a big deal. There's your second kitchen downstairs. These are usually set up nicely for an investment. You have to be careful of what's legal and illegal, and that's changing. We talked about that earlier this week. So, parking, you have to comply with the building code, the fire code. There's lots of different lenses. There's a registration process that started to happen in Hamilton. So lots of things that are changing around second suites. There's actually a seminar in Mississauga tomorrow, and we got the email, responded right away, and it was already full. So there's a lot of demand even from realtors to know what's going to happen in the future. Here's the point on this one. If you could rent the basement out for $800, casting aside the issue of is it legal or not, because it may not be now, but it could be in the future. The point is if you rented that out, $800 a month, each $100,000 on your mortgage is about $500 out of your pocket each month for the next 25 years. That's how the numbers work out. So if you have $800 of income, it would be like buying this home for $300,000. Really, like that's your net, right? Especially if you share the cost of utilities. So from an income subsidizing level, you can't buy this home for $300,000, right? It doesn't exist. Even if you're only using the top floor. Some people, what they do is they'll live in the basement and they'll rent the top floor because you can get more money for the top floor, and it makes the numbers look even better. But it starts to become pretty compelling against the cost of renting to say, I'll buy this home and I'll get at least part of my mortgage paid for by having someone in it. So that's the way to look at it. It's not a great, if you rented both parts, the numbers don't work out especially well for it to actually be what we call cash flow positive as an investor, where you make this much from the top, this much from the bottom, and for the price that you pay for it, it's gotta be enough to pay the bills. Plus, it's got to have some extra money because there's things that happen, new roofing, or sometimes you just don't have a tenant there. So you've got to know that there's usually, most of the investors we advise is what we like to see is a good 5 or 10% above your cost, even rolling all that stuff in, that you're still going to be okay and you still have some cash flow. So Fulton is $450. They were on the market a little bit higher. They've got a little bit of bonus space, so it's a bungalow with I think an extra 2 bedrooms upstairs, plus kind of a main floor bedroom. Nice size property, 78 by 114. You have what potentially could have been a garage at some point. This is the second building. What I like about this, whether or not, because there's only one bathroom, so I assume the bathroom's in the main house, but even if it's just a dwelling, it's a great spot for a nanny or an in-law, somebody who wants to be with the family but to have their own space. The other nice thing about this home is that you could pretty much walk to downtown. It's very close. It's a nice location here. So it's a very interesting property. We have the bungalow that we talked about in yesterday's email resembles this one without the second floor, and it's actually not that far away from that one there. So Borden Lane is 489.9. It's a semi-detached 4-bedroom finished basement. Same thing here, 1+1. But we talked about earlier this week is the parking is going to be a big thing with having a legal basement apartment moving forward. So most of the time semis do not have the kind of parking situation that's ideal or that's going to be legal moving forward. So that'll be something to look at. Can you park 2 cars side by side? That'll be a big factor and influence in someone's decision moving forward. Not a lot of photos here. It is a good location to get to the GO train. You could get to the GO train probably in about a 5 or 6 minute walk if you're a brisk walker. So Superstore, Starbucks, lots of stuff nearby. Donnelly is a Lindsay model. It's 1,800 square feet. Dark cabinets in the kitchen. You've got some pot lights here. It looks like upgraded flooring on both levels. The toilets are up. I cringe when I see that. We have a devout following on Daily Homes of people who watch for the toilet seats to be up, and they're always reporting on it. So it's just something to avoid if you can. You've got, I don't think there's a full walkout here. There are some on this stretch of Donnelly, but you're backing onto James Snow. So this fence here is pretty high. It's probably like 10 feet high. So it's you get a lot of shade in the backyard, but you do hear the busier road behind. Overall 529. Most of the time this model needs a finished basement to kind of hit this kind of price point. There was one that just sold in the 520s with a finished basement and a bit of a wider lot. Wasn't quite as nice as this one inside. So Fay Court is back on the market. 564. They were at 569 before. Nice curb appeal. It's right on the end of a cul-de-sac on Fay Court. It backs onto Fay Court Park. Big pie-shaped lot. Like everything on the outside to me is great. The parking is great. The inside is, I don't know if I love the finishes inside. The kitchen's been done well. It's a little bit smaller, but that's kind of what you get in this neighborhood. There's 4 bedrooms upstairs. You could even, there's only one full bathroom on the second floor, and then you've got a huge backyard. It's lovely back there. It's a real oasis, a fenced-in pool. Very nice stuff. What some people do in this neighborhood is they'll actually extend the house out, and they'll put usually a master bedroom ensuite, and then kind of change the configuration of some of the rooms up here. So that's an option too for creating a little bit more space upstairs. I find this one, the friction point is the way the main level's set up. Some people find that there's not a lot of flow between the kitchen and there's a living dining, and there's kind of a separate room that's a little bit harder. It's like, what do you do with that? The highest single car garage in this neighborhood to sell is in the mid 550s. So they do have a couple more things, especially outside of the home, to offer that one didn't have. But the other one beat them on finishes. So McLaughlin is 579. And I believe this is called, it's a Coscorp home. I think it's a Baycroft or a Belmont, or I don't remember the name of it, but I believe it's around or maybe a little bit less than 2,000 square feet. I don't know if the photos are doing it a lot of justice. It's like you have these angles that don't really give you a sense of how it all fits together. But basically you're dealing with, you've got a family room, and it says the dining room has different measurements in the description. I'm not sure if they're 2 separate rooms or if they're just kind of one big room that they've split in half on measurements. It's a nice location though. You're close to the sports center, so if you have kids that play hockey or skate or do gymnastics, you're in the ideal spot. And it's got a great curb appeal too. Beyond that, they are competing with homes that are a little bit bigger than this one. And I don't see a lot of upgrading beyond maybe some nice appliances and some decent kitchen cabinets. I don't see a lot of extras, but that could be just the way it's presented in photos. So that's the list. That's 9 properties. If you have any questions, give us a call. And if you want to start those daily emails of homes that match what you're looking for, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but we can do it for not just Milton. We can do it for any area too. Mississauga, Oakville, Brampton, Georgetown, all over the place. We've got full access to pretty much all of southwestern Ontario, and homefinderprogram.com or miltonmarketwatch.com. They take you to the same place. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.